Alright, today's March 10th. I want to give an update on my progress. So the weather, what was that last thing I did? I did weather and thunder and stuff, and I was gonna do clouds. I put a pin in the cloud system. I was able to like make animated clouds, like ground clouds and volumetric stuff like that. But I haven't figured out how to sculpt cloud shapes yet, so I'm just gonna put a pause on that right now and come back to it later. I have actually made some post-processing volumes like this one. All it is actually at like the FFmpeg color grading that you see in like DaVinci Resolve and stuff like that, but it's actually in engine, which is cool because you could have it it's wired up into a blueprint which changes the actual values of all these like settings based on like whatever parameters you want. So like if it's raining, you could have it like dark and gritty and like foggy and stuff like that. If you interact with something, you could make it change and look weird. You could have it change based on weather and everything. So that's pretty cool. It's like a dynamic post processing that's like engine bound, right? So I got that set up, and that was a lot more useful. And I thought it was just like a filter that you put on like the view, like you might as well just do that in post, right? But it's actually a lot more in depth and cool and like dynamic than that. So I got that wired up, and then this is like the area that I've been working on so far. And and during the game, you start off like right here, right? But I decided I wanted to work on this area behind this building first, right? And I wanted to like it's like an area where like you walk down the street, right? So I was thinking of how to like replace these because these are all like 2D buildings. These are like placeholder buildings that are supposed to just look good from really far away. And I was trying to figure out how to replace them with something that looks better, right? So I made these buildings. Um, well, how should I explain this? So I made these buildings, right? But then you notice that like they don't look that great, like because this is eye level, like right around here is eye. Okay, well it's like hold on, it's too low. Like right around here is like eye level, right? So things down here we will be able to go really close up to, right? And as you can see, it's like the quality of everything is kind of not great. And that's true with all these big buildings, right? The bigger you only have a certain number of pixels, you only have a certain capacity of details to generate when you're making AI 3D models. And obviously, if you blow it all up to something huge like this, it won't look that great, which is why, things like this don't look very good. But if you like make smaller things out of it, smaller objects, models, and 3D assets, it's like painting with a smaller brush, right? You get way more detail. And so that's what I did. So like, it's a lot of these small assets like this fire hydrant, right? It's all super detailed because it's the same amount of voxels, no matter if you're using a huge thing or a small thing. This like mailbox, these garbage bins, this garbage, right? Like it looks, better because it's like these are small objects. And then if you're so that's a problem if you're trying to make these big buildings, right? Um, it's all blown up and stretched out, and you could really see the limitations. So instead of making these big buildings, I decided to make these small buildings, right? And let me show you how I did that actually, because what I did, because I was making all these like lamp posts and fire hydrants and bicycles and like cars, and I was doing all this using Google Earth as reference. This is like New York. This is like downtown New York City, which is where this part of the game, like that's where this game is set in, is like in the future of New York. So I was already using this as like a visual reference to decorate stuff with. And I was thinking, wait a second, I can just, instead of like Googling a bunch of like crazy stuff, I could just take these, I could take a screenshot of this, uh, push it through my like ComyUI, this ComyUI workflow, which turns it into, makes it like removes the background, makes it so the AI can actually easily read it as a 3D model, and then also like make it post-apocalyptic and like destroyed, right? So it's just like an image, it's like a image to image workflow. Then I take this photo, I plug it into Hunyan, and then it turns it into a 3D model, right? So this is like, this is how it looks, right? already looks so much better. Here's that UFO one, right? So because it's like so these are such small objects. Um, like here's that big object. Here's that big building that I made earlier, right? And it's like it's okay, but you're gonna be like when you walk past it, you're gonna be like this close to it, so you'll see all of the imperfections. Well, meanwhile, when you're like make a building like this, you're gonna be like kind of here, and it's like a lot better. It's also like you can see that there's an interior too, which is like really crazy. Anyways, so I did that. I made a huge amount of like just props and random assets, right? Like everything from here on was all made uh, just for like decorating the streets. There's a fire hydrant, dump truck, lantern, all this stuff, bicycles. Just going up and down the streets, looking at what I could see, and then like uploading it to here, and then turning it into a physical asset to place in the game. And then yeah, you go up and down the street, right? And then taking like screenshots of all these little cool little shops and then importing them, turning them into 3D, and then I have them down here. And so this is now what the end result of that looks like, right? So you've got all these storefronts, and then this is like eye level, right? So this is like you're going up and down. Um, and like this is what you see, and it's like way better than it looks before. Like it almost, um, actually you don't know how it looks like before. Wait, let me show you. Before I did that, the streets looked like what's a good example? Can I go faster? So an example of what it looks like before is like this. Like all the buildings look like this. So they're just like flat, boxes basically. So, with the what's it called? Uh that what's that 3D World BD and those other plugins that the paid plugins, you can like take those 3D models and then they use like Python and you can push out and pull in different aspects of the building. This is like a different way of doing it, just cheating, and it's like, well, it's just quicker. But there's certain aspects that I do wish I could change. Like, I want to make the sidewalks wider. I want to push it in. I could remove some of these buildings, and I'm thinking of having like, even though these buildings don't like these larger structures don't look great, I'm thinking of having of just generating them anyways. Like these big townhouses, right? Just generating these, right? And because you're not really like up next to them, they're kind of above you. You won't really notice it. And then I'll have like the actual high quality storefronts right below. So it'll look like this, right? So like, the high quality structures below are what you see, what you're face to face with, and then up above you don't really care because it's like above you and it's not like and it's not as close to you, right? So it's like it's more hidden. So like yeah, basically like this, So I'm thinking of having it like so. So I'm thinking of just like replacing all these big buildings, even though like I put like already put a bunch of props like these AC units and stuff. Of just cutting them. I could just like crop them out and then replace them with like a townhouses, like these, and then put them here, make them look more realistic. It sounds like a lot of work, but it actually really isn't because what you can do is like make like a block and then you could make things repeat itself and you could like make buildings repeat themselves. Once you have a certain number of these assets, you can actually like make them all repeat and like make a few changes so it doesn't look too repetitive, but like you can make them uh it's a pretty quick process. Like all these streets are like I put like made one row like of them and then I like took that whole entire row and copied them and pasted them and like made a few changes, and it's a pretty quick process relatively. But it actually looks way better than before, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Some of these I need to get rid of. Yeah. What else? I'm thinking of redoing all this foliage because it's making like a really big impact on the performance. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Um, I'm thinking of maybe just redoing the whole thing, like just deleting the whole thing, and then replacing all the foliage with something a little lot like more lightweight and less hardware intense. But I might decide on that later. Yeah, because it's getting to be kind of heavy, which is pretty normal when you're like in the middle of working on the game. So Anyways, yeah, see a bunch of like, helicopter, tanks. Um, I want to make a path that goes up to the top of here. And then we like walk through the building and back down here, and then, that's where the quest starts, as you know. But maybe if we have us start from all the way back here to sort of like let us absorb like the vibes, right? I think it'd be a bit cooler too, and maybe have throw in some enemies or something. Uh, just add more sections to the game. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's my progress update. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna try and rip a bunch more of these buildings from Google Earth and fill out more of the city. Yeah.